before we jump into the gladiators match, one thing that's really important is sharing our heart and talking about things that are going on, things that are real, that are practical, that are happening today, here and around the world, and the important issues. That's why Real Talk exists. Like, that's why this segment matters, and also why it's so important that we have honest and real conversations, whether it's real talk or not. You know what I mean? Like, for me, you know, talking to my amazing wife, Sarah, you guys know Sarah, of course, and seeing all these different things happening on the news. This is completely unrelated to real talk, but it's definitely real talk. I don't know if you've been seeing all the stuff that's been happening for the Australians, particularly with the Australian, you know, politics and all kinds of things going on around women and abuse and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And I think it's so important that even us as a gaming community, even us as young people or whatever, are thinking through, like really thinking through these things. Matthew, thank you for the sub, bro. I'll call that out in a moment. But this is such an important point that I just want to, I really just want to give it the respect that it deserves. There's a reason why when certain tribes, you know, win and that kind of thing, there's a reason why we have both male tribe icons like this one for Tribe Vikings, as well as this right here, female tribe icons, because it's important. Like, this is important to be inclusive and to have that as a real core part of what we do. It's something that myself and our team, we think about, that we reflect on, that we are constantly doing. But more important than just being inclusive is making sure that we are being respectful, that we are honoring women in society, especially in a world where they are so often put down, spoken poorly of, that they live in danger so often. Like, and I say this from personal experience, because ever since I've been married to Sarah, we live our lives in a very different way, because the things that she has to think about are things that I've just never had to deal with before. Like, she would walk to work and get stalked. Like, cars would literally follow her for half an hour, doing U-turns and coming back and just doing it over and over again, going up to her work, asking for where that girl that was walking down the street is at her work. Like to the point of having security guards and almost need to call the police. All kinds of things have happened. I've walked so many times by myself in so many places, and never once have I felt fearful or threatened or anything, because no one's been doing that kind of thing to me. And yet people act and feel like that's okay doing that to a woman, whoever that woman is. And yeah, Arush, you're totally right, dude. That is scary. But that's why it's important for you and I to be the voice, but more than just the voice, to actually act in a way that is honoring and respectful. You know, I heard someone the other day, Sarah showed me this clip. It was actually a comedian of all people, but coming in with some serious wisdom. And you know what they said? They were like, you know, yes, you know, not every guy is bad and is doing this and that and the other. But if 1 in 10, you know, if 1 in 10 guys is bad, but the other 9 are silent, then what's the point in them even being there? Like, if 1 in 10 is toxic and abusive and awful, but the others aren't, then but the others aren't saying anything about it, they aren't standing up, they aren't speaking up, then what's the point? And so I guess that's just something that we as a team and we as a community want to really be thinking about and affirming. Like, there are so many people that have experienced this. Most people have experienced this in some form or the other. Even Cinema Apple Pie right now is saying, yup, it can be scary. Exactly. She's in a different side of the world to me. And yet I'm telling you about some of my wife's reflections and things that she's educated me on. I don't know Cinema Apple Pie's stories and what she's been through, but evidently she understands that. And it's so important that we as a community, we have that at the forefront of our mind. You know what I mean? And I don't just mean on Twitch. On Twitch, absolutely. Female streamers get so much hate and so much toxic. Like, honestly, the mods in our stream, like this is a holiday compared to female streamers who every single stream have to ban so many people that are coming in violent and aggressive and abusive and sexist and just awful human beings saying awful things that they have to deal with that guys generally don't. And like, it's important that not only are we not being those people that are treating people that way and disrespecting people and speaking poorly of people and all that, more than us not being bad, I think we need to intentionally be the other way. You know, yesterday, I'll be completely honest with you here. I am so far from perfect in understanding all this and knowing all this. But like yesterday, wifey, or maybe it was the day before, I don't remember. She showed me this Instagram post. And she shows me this and she's like, hey, this is really important. And I kind of flipped through it because she showed it to me. And it was just saying different, really little, really simple things that a guy can do that will make a woman feel more safe. And they're just things that as a guy, you would never think of doing for your own sake. But for Sarah, she was like, yes, this is so important. Yes, please, if the world just did these simple things, it would be a completely different ballgame. And so I shared that onto my Instagram story. But the thing is, I didn't find that on my own. Like, I needed Sarah to show me that. And that in itself is a problem, right? Like, I need to be doing my research. I need to be looking into this stuff. You need to be doing your research. You need to be looking into this stuff. We need to be saying stuff and speaking out. But it was really cool because after I shared that, and I think it's still on my Instagram story now, by the way. If you guys want to jump on my Instagram, there you go. Micah said that he saw it on my Insta story. There, bro, perfect. But literally right after I shared that, Sarah is on Instagram, and you guys know Fox, right? Fox53. Well, all of a sudden we look and Fox has seen this on my story and has then shared it on his story. So in the same way that when I posted it, Micah saw it. When Fox posted it, other people saw it. And together we can actually have more of a voice and more of an impact. Because if it's in the back of our mind instead of the front of our mind, then it's going to be really easy not to act. Of course, everyone in the world is like, oh yeah, bro, if I ever saw someone, you know, saying horrible things to a woman, I'd stop them. I'd step in. You know, if I ever saw someone grab a woman and pull her into an alleyway, then I would jump in and I would defend her. It's like, yeah, that's all well and good to say that. But like, first of all, would you actually? And second of all, this stuff happens. Like this actually happens. So more than just going, I'll respond to what I see, going, what if we preemptively, proactively step up and speak up and actually try and build some awareness around this, have some conversations around this and recognize that. And we as a community absolutely want to do that. It's why we have these female tribe emotes. It's why we're intentional about making sure that we've got more female moderators coming through, speaking in and all kinds of things. Do you want to come around? Wifey is chiming in, which is awesome. I'm so glad.
Hey guys.
But here she is. Come on over, babe. Bestow some wisdom upon us.
No, I was just gonna say it's not like all or nothing. It's not like good guy to, you know, pulling someone into an alleyway. There's a lot of different behaviors. There's a lot of signs that happen before it gets to that point. Things like making sexist jokes and inappropriate jokes, making comments at women. And, you know, in every single car that has followed me, there's always been someone in the passenger seat or a group of guys in the back who were just laughing. And yeah, the driver or the passenger is the one who's screaming lewd things at me while I'm running, but everyone else was a bystander in that and no one called them out. So they're complicit in that, and it's just as much as if they had all been yelling things out at me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Sarah, if you I want to ask you this because obviously this is something that we all need to learn. If there's anything that right now, again, this isn't even the Real Talk segment, but we just want to have this dialogue. If there's anything that we, as a community, if there's anything that, you know, we've obviously got a bunch of people that are here right now with people with influence, people with families and friends. If there's anything that we should take away, like, what can someone do? What should they be Googling something? Should they be looking something up? Like, what is it to be more than just a bystander in a car? Like, what can the everyday person currently in our Twitch chat do to be a stronger voice for women and help women feel safe in this messed up world?
Yeah.
I know it's a big question.
It is. Well, there's a couple of things, right? One is obviously doing your research and actually understanding. There's a huge misconception that around false allegations of, you know, abuse and assaults, where if you look at the statistics, majority of women don't report because what's the point? Like you get shamed and you get dragged. You like, so many of them don't report because of the stigma that comes with it, and also the fact that like no one who actually gets reported against, only a minority of them actually face a consequence. So
I think it's like 7% or something.
not
like,
even.
No, it's or 3%. It was something.
It's something pathetic. Like 97% of people who get accused or charged don't really do any jail time. It's just like, whatever.
And this isn't people that have been accused. It's people that it's actually
it's gone
been
through the courts and they've gone, yeah, you did it,
yes,
but
guilty.
here's a slap on the wrist because it was your first time, it was your first offense that came to this point. So there's, I think, one, kind of breaking down that stigma of, but is it a false accusation? Is it, it's innocent until proven guilty? For me, and, I'm always happy to be challenged on these things, but for me, when it comes to women coming forward about assault and abuse, I always believe them, because 2% of the time I'll be wrong in believing them. Whereas if I just say, but it's innocent until proven guilty, then 98% of the time I'll be wrong. So
the stat is something like that, right? Like it's actually 98 percent of the time when an accusation is made, it is a
only
true
2%
allegation.
are false. So
like that's crazy, because often we kind of go, it's a coin flip, right?
Yeah,
like
it's not 50-50.
It's either this or that, which by definition it's either this or that. But statistically, if 100 people make a claim, 2 of them are lying. The other 98 people are victims of this.
And yet society says, but it's probably false. Like, and people are so worried. When the Me Too movement came forth, there was so much, male anxiety for some reason that they'll be falsely accused of something. And it was like, are you worried about being falsely accused, or are you suddenly realizing all of the things that you've done that, maybe you made suggestive comments at one of your coworkers, or you did something and acted in an appropriate way, in an inappropriate way, and suddenly you're going, oh crap, what if someone calls me out on this now? Because like, and then that's when not all men, and like, I'm worried to even like be talking to a woman now. And it's like, if you're really that worried that in talking and communicating with a woman that you're going to assault her or harass her, then you need therapy. Like, that's
yeah
that's a problem if that's your mentality, because respect should be at the forefront of the way that you communicate with anyone, regardless of who they are. And if that's your first point of defense, that but she might take it the wrong way, and it's like, well, maybe you need to figure out how to talk respectfully and to act respectfully.
And so many times people go, I'm joking, but it's like, no, that's not a joke. Like there's no punchline, like there's no humor in that. It's you're just saying something that you actually mean and claiming that it's a joke.
Because you're like, whoops, people are actually calling me out on this now. I was just mucking around.
And we see it all the time. I've seen it countless times in my life. I know you have. I'm sure we all have. But
so that's probably the first thing. Just kind of do the work, do the research into what the cases actually look like, what it is actually to go through the court system as someone who has faced assault, because you have to relive like the worst times of your life, right? And that in and of itself is daunting. We've had to do it. So if like to put that ask on someone with no protection, with no guarantee that they'll even be able to reach justice, it's something that's really scary, and there's not a whole lot of empathy for people who have to go through that. And considering that 1 in 3 women by the age of 15 face sexual assault, there's a lot of us. So that's I think having empathy, do the research, and actually look at the facts before you question the integrity of someone. We're seeing this in the Australian Parliament right now, and the first response was, but it's probably a false accusation. And yet there's a trend, it's a pattern with some of these people, and still people jump to the defense of it's probably false. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is probably call out your mates. Be bold to do that. If someone's swearing at a woman, if someone's talking inappropriately, if they're making, mucking around or making jokes, sending pictures, like call them out, report that, because that behavior needs to get ripped out from the roots,
Yep.
and it's not going to happen naturally. You play a role in that.
Yep.
And if you don't, then you're a bystander.
Yep.
And you're complicit.
Yep. And we, as guys, need to be the ones to do that. Like, it's a completely different thing for Sarah to tell someone, hey, that's not cool, when they'll just be like, haha, I'll just go laugh about it with the boys. Whereas for one of the boys, for me to be the one that's like, boy, that's not cool, that comes with a different weight. And it shouldn't, but it does. And therefore, if we have a different weight, if we have a different voice that can be used, then my goodness, we need to use that. So SKAR fam, you know, I know this is the add-on to Real Talk, if you will. This wasn't even planned for Real Talk. Sarah and I didn't wake up this morning and go, yeah, let's do this conversation right now. But the way we run this live stream is that we are honest and we are open and we are transparent with whatever is going on in life, whatever's going on in our minds, whatever it is that the world is going through. And right now, this is something that is being spoken about, and we didn't want to be the only ones not talking about it, especially when talking about it is the thing that is so important. And we absolutely want to be doing that. And honestly, I am blessed to have someone like Sarah who keeps me in check and goes, hey, Kieran, you've got this big platform. You got a whole bunch of people that are going to be there. Are you talking about this? And like, it's very easy for me to be like, actually, no, we're not. We're doing this, that, and the other. But like literally while I'm sitting here, she's walking into the room and kind of looking at me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, I need to do that. And I'm grateful for you, babe, for making sure that I am doing that, because then we as a community can facilitate some of these conversations and really do that. But with that being said, SKAR fam, we do have our gladiator match coming up, so we're going to grab our competitors and run this thing. But yeah, Wifey, I'm glad you popped by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you, babe.